So, prompted by love, trained by grace. Now look at number 3. A healthy believer makes daily choices. It isn't enough to say, yeah, I did that when I was 13 or 12. I went forward. I dedicated my life or whatever. Paul doesn't talk in those terms. What he says is, look at this. We're supposed to be constantly, Ephesians 4:22, making these choices to put off concerning my former conduct. Every time I see myself acting the way I used to act, I don't want that. I want to get rid of that. The old man, which grows corrupt according to deceitful lust. And I want to constantly be renewed. And he already told us in Romans 12, the renewing of your mind comes through the truth of the Word of God. And I want to put on the new man that was created according to God in true righteousness. I want more and more of my life to be under God's control. The moment I got saved, I got all of God. You get everything at once. It's just, he doesn't have all of us. There was a great Christian author, his name was Robert Boyd Munger. He wrote a little tiny booklet called My Heart, Christ's Home. And what he says is that when we get saved, it's like Christ is in the living room, but we don't want him in the kitchen, and certainly not in the fridge, so we keep him in the living room. And then all of a sudden he starts wandering around and say, oh, you can't go in the bedroom. I don't want you to see what's in there. Oh, you can't go down the basement. The closet is locked. And he said the Christian life is constantly throwing everything open. And anything Christ disapproves of, get rid of it. Put it off. Renew that part and put in what he wants it to be. Fourthly, a healthy believer makes sacred vows. Here's a great one. Have you ever marked Psalm 101:3? This is David. David wrote 3 psalms or more when he was young. He wrote the 101st psalm, probably the 19th, probably the 23rd. Because he talks about being a shepherd and all this and living in Bethlehem. Look what he says. I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. I remember raising our kids, teaching. None of these verses, that verse is 3,000 years old. I remember teaching this to my older boys, and I forgot the younger kids that are fiddling around. They're always listening too. One day, I was walking at the outlets with we have 8 children, and the big 4 and the little 4, and I had 2 of the little 4. And I was walking like this, thinking, and walking because, Mom and the rest were doing something, and I don't like to shop, so I was just walking, my laps around. And all of a sudden, one of the 2 buddies, it was kind of like I was dragging him. So I just kept walking, but I was going like this, and I finally looked back at him, and I said, what are you doing? And he was walking like, he was holding my hand, but he was going. And I said, what are you doing? And he went, we were walking in front of the Playtex, Bally, whatever, and there was like a 40-foot high woman in her underwear on their window. And he was going. I said, what are you doing? He said, I will set nothing wicked before my eyes. Does that ever happen to you? Do advertisements, do images, do previews, do trailers, do shows offend you? Have you made a sacred vow? I will set nothing God calls wicked before my eyes, and I will hate everything that those who fall away from God are promoting, and it's not going to cling to me. A good boat, they take it out of the water all the time and scrape the barnacles off. Barnacles are little creatures that are tiny, and they stick to the boat, and then they grow, and they slowly drag and slow down the boat, and so it's using too much fuel, and so they bring it into dry dock, put it up, and get these tools, and they blast away at those barnacles that have encrusted the boat. You know what? We should make sacred vows to go to dry dock regularly and say, I don't want any of the things that offend you, grieve you, quench you to cling to me.